So in each of these test tubes, we have some raw liver, and we're going to take a look at the reaction of hydrogen peroxide on what the liver does. And there's an enzyme in the liver called catalase, and it actually will turn hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen. So when we put the hydrogen peroxide in here, what we will see is some bubbling, and that bubbling is actually oxygen. So this is hydrogen peroxide that I'm dumping in test tube 1. Dumping that in, and you can see it's even bubbling over a little bit. So I'm going to let that sit, and when I feel these bubbles coming out, it's actually warm. So this is one of the questions on your lab. It's getting hotter and the heat is exiting the reaction, so that is considered an exothermic reaction. So I'm going to put a little bit more in and let you watch that. I'm going to swish it around. You can see in the bottom, lots of bubbling going on. I'm going to do the same thing in this graduated cylinder. I have water, and I'm going to dump some water into the liver. And let's take a look at what happens when you do water in. So really nothing. There's really no reaction. All right, and then the third step of the lab, we're going to take, and I really want to swish this around well, and we're going to take all of this that is in here, and we're going to dump it into the third test tube, which also has some liver in it, and we're going to see what happens. So we still have some bubbling, but it's nothing like the vigorous reaction that we had in the first test tube, and that's because most of this liquid has actually turned into water. And then we're going to test to see if the enzyme that was in this liver, if it was used up or if it can be used again. So we're going to put more peroxide in and see what happens. And we have a reaction happening again. And that's one of the properties of enzymes. Enzymes can be used over and over again. And then over in these test tubes, this is part 2, I have some cooked liver. I just boiled it for a few minutes. And so I'm going to put some hydrogen peroxide into the cooked liver. And let's see what happens. See if we get any kind of reaction. And we're getting a little bit, but we're not getting anything like we did with the raw liver. And that's because enzymes in the body are very, very sensitive to heat, and they will denature when they get hot. And then just kind of as a control, let's look and see what happens with cooked water or cooked liver and water. And once again, we really don't get any kind of reaction. So we're still getting a little bit of reaction with the cooked liver, but nothing like this one over here that the bubbles went outside of the test tube. And as I said, it was really warm. I could feel the warmth on it, especially in the bubbles. All right, this should be all you need to do your enzyme lab. Talk to you later.